Hey guys, welcome to makerlearners.com and thank you for taking the time to watch this video. This is just going to be a quick walkthrough in using the website. I'm not going to talk too much about the whole philosophy behind Maker Learners. I do that a little bit on the homepage. There's a brief blurb on what Maker Learners is. I talk about the intended audience. So if you're a maker, a teacher, or a parent, you might want to read this. If you're interested in hearing more, please do scroll right down and sign up to the newsletter. Anytime the big changes happen here, I'll redirect you here by shooting an email out to you. But yeah, so I'm just going to talk about the two ways you can interact with this. So you can either use this to find project ideas that have educational value by using either the project finder or the project library. Now, the project library was built first, and all that really does is index the projects by either maker technologies, maker subjects, or make by age. Really, I suppose, in my mind, the way that this would be used is if you're a maker and you just want a project that's going to allow you to use the tools or the technologies that you have to hand, then you can find them catalogued here. So let's say you want to find a project that links in with the Arduino ecosystem. Then you might want to go to physical computing and electronics and then down to Arduino. If you're a programmer and you're looking for Python projects that have some educational value to them, then you can go to graphical computing and coding and navigate down to Python. You can see we've got HTML, CSS, and processing there already as well. If you've got access to any computer-aided manufacturing machines, then you can go down to CAM machines, and I've made pages for CNC routers, laser cutters, and 3D printers there as well. Most of these are going to look quite empty. I'm at a point where the site is functional and people can add projects to it, and then they will be indexed by these pages. But until we have enough projects that have been submitted, some of these pages might be completely blank. If you're looking for a specific project, then I recommend you go to the project finder, or at least keep checking back at this space, because as we populate with more and more projects, this is really how you can find a project that's completely tailored to what you're looking for. You can see it's called the Project Finder 3000. It's taken me 3 iterations to get this right. So I've just named it the Project Finder 3000. Why not? At the moment, it's got all of the kind of placeholder projects that I've been building along the way to test the functionality for the website. Some of these will become actual projects. They're just not quite finished yet. Some of these are entirely placeholders, like Test Title 2, for example, is clearly just a placeholder. On the left-hand side, you can actually dynamically search for a specific project you want. So if you're a teacher, for example, and you're thinking, right, I want to dedicate 4 one-hour lessons to a project, so I'm looking for a 4-hour project, maybe I can go one lesson over on that. Then you might want to dial in 4 to 5 hours. Heck, let's say 6. So 4 to 6 hours. And you can see there's 2 projects there, one 4 hours long, Illustrator and Mathematics. That's really just a placeholder. It might become something eventually. And the 5-hour project for multiple temperatures. You can see each of these projects have also got technologies assigned to them. They've got the learner subjects listed, and they've got the minimum maker age. That's being determined by myself and any contributors we get. The maker age really being based on, well, what is the minimum age by which this is safe with supervision? So always with supervision. And also looking at the educational content behind this project, sort of where in schooling would we expect that maker learner to be, or that student to be. So I could say, right, I want 4 to 6 hours, but let's have a look at something that distinguishes these two. So this second one is the only one that's physics as well. The first one is just math. You can see that I've only got under learner subjects, I've only got math and physics as a possibility. And that's because even this filter on the left is kind of dynamically created by what's left. So let's single this out. Let's select physics. And there's just the multiple temperatures project left. So this, I hope, will be a fairly decent tool for people who are looking for a specific project. Personally, I love how this works, and as we populate with more and more projects, I'm hoping the functionality stays just as sort of fluid as it is right now. Now, if you want to contribute to the site, and I beg of you to do so that we can really get this moving. Click on the login button on the toolbar at the top there, and then once you get to the login page, you're going to want to hit. Unless you've already registered, right? There's a username, email, password, and we've got a Google captcha here as well. But for the first time user, you want to navigate over to register. And then I'm just going to need you to fill out your username, first and last name if you like. I recommend keeping that to your real first and last name so that I know how to address you if I contact you. Give us your email address, password, and then I do recommend you taking a quick glance over the privacy policy. I've just used a template for this at the moment. The terms are quite unique. I recommend you reading those. I've written those myself. They will explain to you why, as a member, you might find yourself no longer a member if you break any of the sort of rules that I've put in place for posting content that is suitable. And also, I've tried my best to explain what constitutes as a project that I will publish and what constitutes as a project that I will not publish. Okay, so I do recommend you reading through that section, hit the captcha, and then hit register. Okay. So here's a test account that I've already made under the name of Richard Feynman. I've given him a brief bio. Now, when you create your own account, it should drop you into the user dashboard. And from the user dashboard, you'll get that personalized welcome message, and then you'll have 4 options, only 3 of which are live right now. You can add a project, you can view any projects that you've added already, and you can make changes to your profile. The events is coming soon. I'm not entirely sure how soon. I would like it to be so that if you're running any workshops or if you're doing anything locally, that you can record that in events and users will be able to see if there are any, anything like a hackathon / makeathon, or if you're running a workshop on maybe 3D printing or using Maker tools, then you can share that on the events section of the website. So coming soon. For this video, we're going to start by adding an example project. So I'm going to click on Add Project. And then we can use this form to submit a project. So let's do that. Let's say example project for video, because I may actually have already used example project. Introduce your project here. What does it involve? Why did you choose to do the project? Why do you think it would be useful for others to follow the project? Now, in this space, I really don't mind if you link to any videos you've made. You can link to your own website, so you can direct people away from this project page. That's absolutely fine. But all I ask is that you give enough information for people to reasonably decide just by looking at this overview whether or not it's a project they want to follow. You can set a featured image. I'm not sure what images Richard Feynman has access to, but let's have a look. You will only have access to your own images. So you can see Richard's only actually got this one image to play with. Of course, you can upload more, and then your media library would be that little bit bigger. Let's go with this image that's here already. So I'm going to hit select for that. Let's say the length of time for this project might be, let's go for 8 hours. Let's say technology-wise, it's a project that happens to use a 3D printer, artificial intelligence, why not? But actually, let's say that there's something here that there's a technology that isn't listed. Now I'm going to have to think of a technology quickly that isn't. Let's say for coding, it's actually going to use a bit of JavaScript. That's not listed in this at all. You'll see there's a little plus icon here, which will allow you to add a new technology. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to add JavaScript. Maybe I should do I capitalize the S as well? JavaScript, why not? Select, now, obviously I don't want this to go anywhere. I want it to be underneath graphical computing and coding. So I'm going to select that as a parent and hit add. Okay, and then close this, and you can see now JavaScript is placed under graphical computing and coding. One thing I do ask is please do check the list before adding anything new. I don't want to have to keep deleting taxonomies that are either repeated or nonsensical. So try to make a bit of sense when you're making changes there. Let's say for the subjects, well, it's Richard Feynman making this, so heck, let's say physics, and maybe there's a bit of mathematics involved there too. For the Maker age, we'll go for, let's say it's a high school project. Electronic components, now this should populate with anything that's been created already. So let's say you're going to need a breadboard to do this. So there it is. I just saw ball switch, which is quite nice. So let's add a ball switch. And then maybe some hookup wire, seeing as we've got a breadboard. So hookup wire and an LED. Now again, if there's something here that's missing, you can use this little plus icon here and add an electronic component, and that'll add it as a taxonomy as well. Then we go into the making. So this, let's type this. This is a section where you describe in as much detail as possible how you created the project. Now, again, I don't mind if you create external links to your site. You should be able to do that. So if I highlight project and hit link, you should be able to make an external URL there. So you should be able to link to any videos you've created or anything else that you want people to be directed to. You can also add media here. There's an add media button, which will allow you to either use the media that you've uploaded before, or you can upload new files as well. Same with the learning section, but here you should explain, and again, in as much detail and as clearly as possible, what learning will take place during the completion of this project. Okay, so you might want to relate to the physics concepts, the mathematical concepts, and how they really tie into successfully completing this project. And then finally, I've added a teaching resource button here where you can upload files to be downloaded. So if you've made any worksheets, any PowerPoints, any PDF documents that you want people to have access to, you can attach one of those here too. I'll set it as one because I don't want to risk this turning into something that's a bit too sort of memory intensive. So I can go to my media library. I did download the diploma general regulations just to test this. So I can select that and add the diploma regulations to this example. So that's been added as a document now. You can see you've got two options. You can submit it immediately, or you can save it as a draft to pull up later. What I will say is that if you submit it, there's no going back from that. That goes straight to an approvals list, and you won't have access to it again until I've either approved it or changed it back into a draft for you to edit later. Now, if I turn it back into a draft, chances are I'm going to send you an email as well and say, hey, I'd love to have this up on the website, but can you just make a few changes? Or I might point out something that might not be clear enough for the audience on here. So I'm going to show you the save as a draft feature. So if we hit save as draft, and once you've saved it as a draft, it will show you what that project is going to look like once it's been turned into a project. You will have your name as the author next to it with your short bio. Worth bearing in mind, actually, that bio will go next to every post that you submit. You've got the date and the time that you submitted it. You can see that featured image has been populated. You've got a couple of social sharing buttons here whereby people can decide to share your project on Facebook, Google+, Twitter, or LinkedIn. So again, that's worth bearing in mind, seeing as your name and bio is attached to this. It lists the technologies that we've submitted, including JavaScript, which we created. You've got your subjects there, the age is there, the length, and then it's populated your introduction, your maker section, learner section, and there's that download button for the resource, that PDF that you uploaded. And then underneath, it's got more to make and learn, which actually will show any other related projects. So these will be related either because it's by the same author. You can see two of these are by Richard Feynman as well, or it's physics as well. It's a science project. So there's a few related projects at the bottom there. I'm gonna navigate now back to well, actually, rather than going dashboard then share a project, you'll notice that in the menu there is a shortcut there. You can go straight to share a project. So let's click through on this time. And that takes us back to the share a project form. Now, in order to pull up that draft project that you just saved, you need to go to the bottom of this form. And this time, because you have a draft project, you'll see that edit a draft list at the bottom here. So if I click on that, you can see that example project for video there. So I'm going to click on that now. And you'll see that that form now is populated with everything that we'd saved as a draft, so we can continue working on this at a later time. Now, as soon as you're happy with this, submit it and I'll have a look at it, and hopefully we can throw it up on the website. So I'm going to say, right, I'm happy with this now. I'm going to send it for admin to have a look at. So ready to send your project for review. Let's hit submit. And you'll notice that when you submit a project, it does the same thing. It shows you what that project looks like using the projects template. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to show you is the My Projects section. Now, you can get that in one of two ways. You can either go through the dashboard and then to My Projects, as you saw earlier, or again, there's a quicker way through the user drop down there to My Projects. So let's click through to My Projects. Now, what you're not going to see in this list is the project that you just submitted. And the reason for that is it's pending approval right now. So it doesn't get listed on the website, so it can't be dynamically pulled into this list until it's been looked over and approved. So that project's kind of waiting on me to take a look at. But there are all of the other projects that Richard Feynman's being used to create while I've been testing this account. So you can see we've got 4 projects here, all created by Richard Feynman. And for each of them, we have 2 options. We can either click on the View Project button, which will take us straight to that live project page, or you can click on Edit Project underneath, and that will open within this page, that will open the same form that you saw earlier when we created the project. That's going to allow you to make any changes that you want to your project. But what I will say is when you resubmit this by clicking Edit Project, it will go back to pending, because that will then need a second look over by myself, or hopefully at some point to get to a stage where I have moderators. Imagine that. Another thing you can do is you can delete the project. Okay, this project is completely yours. I don't claim ownership over it. You can remove it from the website anytime you like. I'm not going to delete it. In fact, I'm not even going to edit it. Let's close out of here. So you can go to My Projects, and that will show you all of the projects that you've got, and it'll allow you to make edits or delete those projects. So that's really it. That's a nice overview of the website. I think the only page I've not mentioned is the logout button. So let's log out to this account now. and that will take you back to the homepage. So again, if you just want to use this to find projects and you don't feel that you have anything to contribute, please do keep checking the project finder section or the project library. If you are a maker, a teacher, or a parent that has a project that you feel is educational and you'd like to share it, please do create an account. Let's see if this can become a useful tool. Now that I've made the site, I can really focus on creating projects for the website. If you want to reach out directly, I haven't put an email on this account, so please do click through one of the social icons. If you click onto the Facebook icon, that will take you to a Maker Learners Facebook page that I've created. So please do consider joining that and reaching out to me through the chat feature on there. And the same with the Twitter. You can direct message me through Twitter as well. Actually, this video is mostly going. I think Facebook's about the only place I'll be posting this, and also the Maker Learner Twitter account as well. So if you're seeing this video, chances are that you've already accessed those accounts anyway. So yeah, please do reach out to me if you've got any ideas for the direction of this. If you want to get on board and try and help me with this project, please let me know. It's been great speaking to you. Thanks for sticking around this long, and hopefully I'll see or hear from you soon. All the best. Thank you.